Good morning. It's February 26th. We have a great speaker for you this morning. And I just wanted to remind everyone that we are going to take questions at the end of the hour. So you can raise your hand virtually then, or you can put them in the chat if you think you might not remember them. And now I'm going to introduce longtime member Lynn Sallet, who's going to introduce our speaker. Here we go. Thank you, Lynn.
Hi, everybody. I just want to give a personal note here. I saw Sue at a program presenting all of her information, and I was so impressed and so impacted by her techniques that I said to Vanessa, we have to have this person here. So here she is from England. Let me give you a brief bio on her. She is a retired family practice physician who, from early in her career, was interested in the effects of stress on health. Since the early 1980s, she has promoted the benefits of mindfulness to thousands of patients, young and old. When Sue learned of an organization called Mindful Community Tutors, whose mission is to enhance academic skills and overall well-being by providing free coaching, tutoring, and connection between seniors and children, she knew she had to become involved. And this is a quote from her. I wanted to get involved with Mindful Community Tutors when I saw a piece pointing out how far behind many children had slipped because of COVID, and also how serious this issue was becoming for seniors who felt isolated, purposelessness, and depression. Many of the children never caught up. And she said, I saw it as an opportunity to become a part of something that could address the issues, energize seniors, and guide teachers. So the program today is going to focus on her attempts to modify the effects of stress, which we're all feeling, on health through mindfulness. Hopefully, your introduction to her techniques will help you feel calmer in the moment and also protect your future health. Take it away.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. So all of that is correct. I became interested very early on about what stress does to people's health. And a little bit later, Dr. John Kabat-Zinn at Massachusetts General Hospital started doing clinical trials and showed how stress can affect every part of you. And we'll talk about that as we go through. I'm going to share my screen now. That I have to, 1 second, there we go. Okay, so can you see that okay?
Yes, it's perfect.
I have to get the bar out of the way here. Oop, sorry. Oop, 1 second, technology problems here. Okay.
You might have had a bar on your last one, but we didn't see it. So it looks perfect. There's no bars. You're good to go.
Okay, so I need to... Sorry, I need to shrink that because otherwise I can't see the whole screen. Okay. Okay, so my objective is to increase your awareness of stress-inducing agents, both external factors and personal characteristics, to increase your ability to deal with stress, to reinforce support systems, develop problem-solving techniques, and create personal stress management tactics. And at the end, you should be on the way to understand what stress is and how it affects you physically, mentally, and emotionally. Develop your most effective coping mechanisms and help others deal with their stress, living more comfortably. At any point, if you can't see something or can't hear, then please let me know. Please, or Vanessa, you let me know, okay? Why address the stress issue at all? Stress is thought to be a factor in up to 70% of visits to the doctor. It's huge. Work satisfaction is the largest factor influencing longevity. They did a big trial in New York matching 25,000 people for equal risk factors of smoking, weight, blood pressure, and they found that the single largest factor to influence longevity was work satisfaction and being able to control stress in the workplace. A 3-year study conducted by a large corporation found 60% of all absences from work were due to job stress. And the cost to US industry of job stress is 300 billion per year. Stress can make you ill, both short-term and long-term. It can make you appear to work harder, but be less productive. Oop, my screen has gone strange here. A stressful circumstance is one with which you cannot cope successfully or believe you cannot cope successfully, and which results in unwanted physical, mental, or emotional reactions. And I say one that you believe. Never mock anybody else if they're frightened of something. And here was a good example of these guys in the iconic photo eating their lunch perched up above New York City. Well, I think that's enough to stress most of us out. And other things may happen that you think, why are they getting stressed about that? But if somebody is stressed, it's their stress. And don't question it.
That's it all. That's my firm belief that the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Anxieties that happened during COVID, which really did push everybody's stress levels. Uncertainty, fear for the self and loved ones, economic worries, worry about access to supplies, feeling isolated, the choice of seeing people and taking a risk or being alone, feeling hopeless, sensationalist media, and experts' advice constantly being reevaluated and changing. Before COVID, those were anxieties about health. And since COVID, that's what's happened. You have a stressor, and that can be anything, whatever stresses you out. That leads to a stress response in the body, which then can lead to stress-related dysfunction, disease, and unhappiness. I'm going to whiz through what happens when you get stressed. Adrenaline and noradrenaline, or norepinephrine in the United States, and epinephrine, are released from the adrenal glands, which sit on top of the kidneys. Your brain goes on red alert and prepares your body for action. It's back to the Stone Age fight or flight response. You think that something is attacking, and so you get ready to be able to either fight them or run away. Your pupils dilate so you can see better all around. Your mouth goes dry. Your heart beats faster. Your blood pressure rises. You sweat. Your muscles tense, ready for activity. Your lungs are breathing faster to take in more oxygen. Your digestion slows because you don't need to eat a sandwich when you're fighting a tiger. Your blood clots more easily, which has come evolutionarily because if you were gored by a wild animal, you want to have your blood clot so you don't bleed to death. That's great in that situation. It's not so great when you've got narrow coronary arteries. And so the kind of stereotypical, very, very stressed clutching your chest, having a heart attack. It's real. And so some of the illnesses that you can have, headaches, migraines, insomnia, dizziness, blurred vision, difficulty swallowing, aching necks or shoulders, asthma, sweating, coughs and colds, chest pain, high blood pressure, any bowel symptoms, backache, skin rashes, allergies, in fact, anything at all. One caveat here is don't ever let a doctor tell you something is due to stress without it being checked out. You do hear stories of people not being properly checked when they go with something and the doctor says it's stress and it turned out to have actual physical issues. People think that psychosomatic means that you're imagining it. It doesn't. Psychosomatic means from the Greek, the effects that the body has on the body. So you have life events, which is something that happens between the person and the environment. That goes into your brain and you interpret it both consciously and subconsciously. You bring in all sorts of things that have happened in the past, come into all of that. That arouses the stress response. You then have organ activation. Either you go into competent coping and you get relief, or you go into non-competent coping and you get dysfunction. Now, you can break that at any of these places. Where it says social restructuring, environment, person interaction, that's things like if somebody has a terrible commute that stresses them out every day, maybe trying to move, maybe trying to change jobs. Cognitive restructuring means if you have somebody who you think they're being mean to you because it touches into something that's happened from someone else in the past, therapy can help you to talk to yourself in such a way that blocks it there. Relaxation training and mindfulness. We'll be doing a mindfulness exercise a little bit later on. We know that mindfulness, 10 minutes mindfulness a day, is as good as stopping smoking and weight loss, really is protective. Physical exercise, we'll talk about how that works. So lifestyle as a mediating factor. We have diet, we have exercise, we have attitude, we have meditation, and we have rest and play. Diet. This is how your plate should look, with some protein, grains, and leafy greens. There's a lot of research going on about microbiome. Your microbiome are the billions and trillions of bacteria that live in your gut. And it is now very widely known that this can affect much of your health. There's a very good website called, I think it's zoe.org. I will send it to you, Vanessa, to send out later. But if you Google Zoe microbiome, it will come up and that will explain to you an awful lot of how it can affect stress, how it can affect your heart, how it can affect your gut. And we know that most receptors for depression are actually in your gut, not in your brain, which is why microbiome is so important in terms of stress and depression.
I found the link and I'll put it in the chat.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you. I can't see anyone. If you don't mind me just adjusting for 1 minute, because I can't actually see anyone, which is...
You can, if you touch the view, you could do a side-by-side gallery so you can see.
Yeah, no, I know how to do it, but it's kind of disappeared on mine. I'm sorry about that.
Okay.
1 second.
We're hoping that this picture is the picture of the food we can eat.
Yeah, I bet. I bet. Well, oh, hold on. Now I can. get you back.
We're going to be disappointed if you put the salmon
I'm
back
sorry.
up.
I'm sorry. Okay. What happens when you have junk food, which is the red line? You feel, oh, I've got to have a chocolate or a biscuit. You eat something, your blood sugar zooms up to 180, around there, and you feel much better. That's just what you needed. But unfortunately, it has a reactive hypoglycemia, a lowering of the glucose, and it goes down below where it was to begin with. The green line is if you eat perfectly the whole grains, the greens, and fiber, and it keeps your blood sugar much more even. What's the relevance of that? The huge swings in blood glucose affect the adrenal and start to cause stress hormones to come out. Drinking enough water, believe it or not, remember to drink water. I took these two pictures in my garden of some greens that I was growing because I thought it's really good example of what happens in the human body when you haven't drunk enough. The difference in time between the left-hand picture and the right-hand picture was 20 minutes. And I thought that that really shows you how important water is and how, you know, you can get headaches and just feel generally yuck because you're not drinking enough water. Exercise. Exercise, it does so much. It improves blood flow to the brain. You get extra sugar and oxygen that boost concentration. It carries away toxic products and continues to eliminate them even when not exercising. It increases the brain waves, which are alpha waves, which bring calmness associated with this. Brain endorphins are the body's natural feel-good morphine type substance, and it excretes BDNF, which repairs memory neurons and allows a reset. That's really important. So when they say, even for people suffering with dementia, that exercise is vital in making the symptoms better and keeping it more stable for longer, it's really true. Your own attitude. This is where the cognitive therapy comes in. This is when you talk to yourself and you tell yourself all sorts of awful things. And you should do things like saying to yourself, will I still remember this in 5 years' time? Saying things like, so what if I miss something because I'm late? I'll try not to be late, but so what? Nothing bad will happen. The bad that's happening is what goes on in your body that makes you feel very stressed. Meditation. We now have brain MRIs, and it's great. It's been terrific for psychology because it was a very woo-woo part of medicine. Now, by doing brain MRIs, we can actually measure what happens. And you can see the stimulated, tense-looking brain before meditation and how it all settles down after meditation. So this is another diagram of that, before and after, just a 10-minute meditation. Curtain Kriya meditation, which we can do just very quickly, just to give you an idea of what it is. It's an Eastern meditation that's been around for thousands of years. It boosts memory, it reduces stress, it improves brain chemistry, and improves the quality of sleep. If you do this with me, now I'll do it, and then I just want you to do it briefly. You'd go like this: sa, ta, na, ma. Sa, ta, na, ma. It's really very simple. And you do it out loud 10 times. Then you whisper it 10 times. Then you do it silently in your head 10 times, then whisper again, and then out loud. It doesn't take you very long, and it has been shown to improve memory, definitely. And as I say, that's a very easy thing to do. I can find a link for you on, there's some good YouTubes on how to do it. Abdominal breathing, diaphragmatic breathing. That's the key really to all mindfulness. When we are tense, we breathe very shallowly. We breathe in and we hold our stomach in, we breathe out, and we let our stomach out. It does all of these things. It reduces the pulse and blood pressure, improves posture, core muscle strength, aids digestion, relaxes neck and shoulders, changes from the sympathetic fight or flight response to the parasympathetic calm and relax. And this is really the key to all mindfulness. You need to be able to practice abdominal breathing, belly breathing, diaphragmatic breathing are different terms for it. So when you inhale, you put your hands on your stomach and just make sure that you blow your belly out like a big balloon. Instead of being tense and pulling everything in as you breathe in, you are filling your belly. You are getting your diaphragm, which separates the chest from the abdominal cavity, to go down. And this will affect everything and calm it. And when you exhale, your belly goes in like a balloon is deflating. Rest and play. Laughter is vitally important. And I first met Lynn when at Highland Park. We went to Highland Park School. And I showed this slide. I went earlier to try and test the sound thing. And we went into the library and there was a load of students who were studying very seriously. And we put this on and the whole library was in uproar.
Okay, I hope you got it. Again? I'm glad you like it, Zoe. Zoe?
I don't know about you, but with what's going on in the world in general, the more that we can laugh, the more that we can watch things that make us laugh, the better it is. And benefits of laughter. Laughter relieves the stress response, increases oxygen intake, stimulates circulation and relaxes muscle. I mean, this is something you know, that when you have a good laugh, you feel better. And again, the laughter promotes the brain endorphins, the same as exercise, and is probably more pleasant for most. And also gives you pain relief. It increases your immunity and fights infection. So I really do say to people, whatever it is, something that you watch that you think is funny, there's loads of YouTubes around of stand-up comedians. There's just a lot out there that you can watch that will just make you feel better. Age and laughter. When you're 4 years old, you laugh and smile around 400 times a day. When you're older, it's much, much, much less. And just really important to incorporate it. And, you know, we're very much products of Stone Age. And the actual act of smiling, even when you fake it, even when you look into the mirror and smile, the muscular actions give you stress relief. So try and think to yourself, smile into the mirror as much as you can. too much screen time is something that's really relevant these days. And blue light reduces melatonin, reducing sleep quality and quantity. I don't know if anybody's experienced this, that you can't read a long article like you used to, that you find yourself flicking to the end, seeing how long is this? Because you can't concentrate as much, and computers are doing this to our brains. And this weekend we went to my cousins and they had a kind of a musical soiree. There was somebody playing a piano and a cello, and we realized how much we miss that kind of thing in our lives, how relaxing it is. The importance of sleep. Sleep is vital, and as you get older, sleep becomes more elusive, but it is really important. And there are many, many good relaxation apps and music around to help with sleep. I think it's very, very important that you speak to your doctor if you're having trouble sleeping. It's very important that you try and fix that. Music has many benefits. And I think music is something a lot of people forget to do. I spoke to one of my friends who's in a senior home recently, and she's having a really bad time. She's had several falls and just really, really doesn't feel well, doesn't like what's happening in the world. And I asked her, was she listening to music? And she wasn't. She forgot about it. So it's something to remember, just to have on. It does calm your mind. It elevates your mood. It can relieve depression. It can manage pain. It can help with a healthy heart. Self-compassion is really important, treating yourself with kindness instead of judgment. So many times, what's going on in your head, that little voice that goes on in your head, is what causes the stress. You criticize yourself, and sometimes you just have to say to yourself, to that critical voice, thank you very much, but I'm just going to leave you behind today. Self-compassion is not self-pity, and it's not self-indulgent, and it's not anything to do with self-esteem, but you've got to be kind to yourself. Oop, 1 second.
I want you to sit back.
Sorry, 1 second. I need to go back there. Oop, sorry about this. Oop. Oop, sorry about this. 1 second, I'm sorry.
Yes, no problem. As you're rearranging this, and you can speak to this at the end. I think the other thing that brings you calmness and relieves stress. Now, of course, I'm in the business. Is coming to services. You know, people who
Sure.
it does. See, come on, don't laugh. I know for me, it de-stresses me. Okay, go ahead.
No, for sure. For sure. Oop. I don't know what's happening with my computer here. I'm so sorry. Okay, hold on. I'm sorry. Now I need to go to here. Okay, so now will come the mindfulness bit. Now, it's about 8 minutes. You can close your eyes or look at the screen. There will be things to see. So up to you, and I will see you at the other end.
I want you to sit back, make yourself
So we only see Zoom. We don't see the video.
Oh,
you can.
We can
You
hear it.
close your
no,
eyes.
you need to,
But
1
you can
second. Oh. Yeah, I lost my screen share. Hold on. See, this is a stress for me.
Technology is always a stress. I mean, sometimes it's a good thing, but every Sunday morning I do a prayer to the gods of technology and say, let this be right.
Yeah, I just don't quite know what's happening here. Okay, give me 1 minute. And my computer is playing up. Yeah, my share screen has just disappeared. Am I still a host? Vanessa? I think I'm not a host because I haven't got a share screen. I think that's the problem. Okay, hold on. Okay. Can you see that now? Can you see a black screen? Okay.
We can.
Okay.
I want you to sit back, make yourself comfortable, feet on the ground and back as straight as you can. You may want to close your eyes, but you can also continue looking at the screen if you prefer. Put one hand on your belly and take a big, slow breath in through your nose and out through your mouth with a whoosh. As you breathe in, make your hand rise, and as you breathe out, make your hand go down. Breathe in through your nose to a count of 4. Hold for 4, and then breathe out through your mouth with a whooshing sound to a count of 8, and then start the next cycle immediately. I will count for you. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now I want you to breathe at your normal pace. Focus on where you feel the breath the most. It might be your stomach, it might be your chest, or even your nose. If it's helpful to watch the screen to see bubbles, then do, because I want you to imagine that you're a bubble. Imagine what it feels like to float. Up, 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 just floating in the air. There'll be periods that you don't hear my voice. Just continue breathing and floating until you hear me again. If thoughts pop up, it doesn't mean you're not doing this well. The important thing is to realize that they're popping up. Just say to yourself, no, thank you, and go back to your breath. Now I want you to imagine that you're at the seashore watching the waves roll in. If you would like to, you will see some waves on the screen. As you breathe in, imagine that you're at the crest of the wave. As you breathe out, imagine the wave rolling into shore. As we begin our self-compassion meditation, I want you to think of your breath as a vehicle of love, compassion, support, and courage. I want you to think of a difficult situation. It may be something you're going through now, such as the COVID crisis. It may be a past situation. There are 3 elements to this: mindfulness, common humanity, and self-kindness. Carry on breathing comfortably, and for each section that I mention, try and come up with a phrase that resonates for you. The mindfulness. First, you need to be mindful and acknowledge what you're going through. Often it helps to speak to yourself in the second person. Your phrase should be something like, "This is really hard," or "You are really suffering through this," or "You're feeling so stressed and anxious." Whatever works for you. Common humanity. Your phrase can be, "This is part of life. Being human brings this stuff. I'm not the only person feeling like this. It's completely normal to feel this way in a situation like this." You ground yourself in the knowledge that you're part of the shared human experience, and it's hard for everyone. Kindness. Now put your hands somewhere that you find soothing, perhaps over your heart, perhaps stroking your cheek or your arm, perhaps cup your face in both your hands. Your phrase should contain words of self-acceptance. You're doing the best you can. It's okay not to be perfect and to make mistakes. Or "I love you just the way you are." You may need some words of encouragement. "You've got this. It's going to be okay." If you can't think of any words, try and imagine if someone you care for was going through this. What words might you use to help them? Now use them on yourself. Whatever strength, kindness, and courage you need, imagine your breath taking it right into your heart. Now I want you to think of people who love you now or have loved you in your life, whether they're still alive or have passed. Imagine them surrounding you in a circle, loving you, wanting you to be safe and have good health, wishing you to be peaceful. Imagine a golden light shining from them, washing over you and warming you. Still feel the golden light on you and say to yourself, "May I be happy. May I be healthy and safe. May I be peaceful. May I be happy. May I be healthy and safe. May I be peaceful. Now think of someone you love and say, may you be happy. May you be healthy and safe. May you be peaceful. May you be happy. May you be healthy and safe. May you be peaceful. Say to yourself, I've got this. Whatever has happened in my life, I've survived to this point. Give yourself a big hug. And when you're ready, slowly open your eyes.
Not easy to do on the fly like that, but I hope you get some kind of sense of a peacefulness that can ensue just in 7 or 8 minutes. I put these pictures in because they're ones that, for me, they're places that I've been and places that I felt very, very calm and warm inside. And if you have a situation where you do have a picture where you felt really good, keep the picture, use it, look at it, try and capture what you felt when you were there at that moment. This was in New Zealand, and by seeing the picture, I can bring up how I felt at the time. Every morning, think of 3 things you're grateful for. Gratitude is something that, when I'll talk in a minute about mindful community tutors, but it's something that we try and teach the kids, positive things that have happened, things that they're grateful for. So Piglet, this is from Winnie the Pooh. Piglet noticed that even though he had a very small heart, it could hold a rather large amount of gratitude. Every night, think of 3 positive things that have happened. And this is a book that I love by Charlie Mackesy. There was a little film of it and it won an Oscar last year. It was a 20-minute cartoon. I think it was on Apple. Being kind to yourself is one of the greatest kindnesses, said the mole. And it's a book that you can read through in about 7 or 8 minutes. If you haven't read it, I really would recommend it. And you see something different every time. So what's Mindful Community Tutors? And I am here to try and recruit people to join us. And so I'll take any questions about that as well. Mindful Community Tutors' mission is to enhance children's academic skills and overall wellness by providing coaching, tutoring, and joyful connection between seniors and children. Mindfulness improves attention spans, it helps manage the stress, it increases a sense of well-being, and it improves communication skills. For some reason, this was something that one of the teachers that we work with said. Children returned to school after a year of remote learning with anxiety and academic needs. Mindful Community Tutors provide students with the opportunity to meet grade level expectations through mindfulness exercises and reinforcement of academic skills. The partnership teachers need to take care of the whole child, mind and soul. I ask myself every year if I have done my best to meet the needs of every child in my class. But now, with the help of mindful community tutors, I know I do. And that's a second grade teacher that we work with. That's our website, which I'd love you to have a look at later. This is a picture of some of our tutors with our tutees. We had a little graduation ceremony, and the paintings are things that they did for us. And we gave them little certificates. We made a real difference in just an hour a week, sometimes going in, sometimes virtually. We had children who went from the 9th centile in math to the 91st centile. Just having the one-on-one attention and following what they needed, the teacher preps us what is needed. They made huge strides in confidence. The problem is enormous. We're tutoring second and third grade at the moment. There are second graders who don't even know their letters. Obviously, they're going to get further and further and further behind. And sure, we can't do as much as is needed for them, but you would be surprised how much we do. And I think sometimes the tutors get even more out of it. It really makes you feel very good. This is a little girl who is a refugee from Venezuela, Georgina. We asked whether mindful community tutors could help because she's living in a shelter in Chicago, and the teacher said she doesn't have a winter coat. She's come from Venezuela and she doesn't have a backpack, she doesn't have a water bottle, she doesn't have a winter coat. So we got her that. And she's also having tutoring. Let me stop my screen share. Okay, so I am now with you for any questions that you may have.
Feel free to put it in the chat or raise your hand. I'm on a gallery view, so if you wave, I can see you. I did write down a few things. You talked about laughter being like the best medicine.
Mm-hmm.
So my question to you is, if you're in a state of either depression or you don't smile a lot, does this have a negative effect on your health and well-being?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, it does. And that's why it's very, very important to treat anxiety and depression, whether by medication, whether by improvement of the microbiome. I know it sounds far-fetched, but it really is true. And Dr. Tim Spector, who founded Zoe, is an absolute genius. And the Zoe project is done together with Harvard, Stanford, and Mass General Hospital. And it's been working really well for people with depression who are not taking antidepressants. But there is definitely a link between health and depression. I think we're getting much better about accepting depression and talking about it and realizing that it's a disease like any other disease. I think, our generation grew up with you better pull yourself together.
Get a hold of yourself.
Yep.
And I think it's the last taboo that people talk about it a little bit more, but it's still, not quite as much. Lynn, go ahead. Wait a minute. Let me unmute you. Okay, go ahead.
Can you give us that Zoe email address? Or
I put it in the chat, and I will put it in the chat again.
Okay. Also, is there any exercise that you have found to be more helpful than others in terms of stress reduction?
It's funny. It reminds me of a vice president of a company that I was working with who was stressed up to the eyeballs, had hugely high blood pressure, and really needed stress reduction. So I gave him a video at the time of VCRs on stress management and mindfulness. And when I saw him in a month's time, I said, "How was it?" He said, didn't find it much help. And I said, "Really?" I said, "Most people find it terrific." Well, he watched it on fast forward. So that reminded me of that, like, which is the best bang for your buck? I think that just 10 minutes mindfulness a day, whether you do it yourself, whether you listen to one of the apps on the Calm one, Headspace is another one that's very good, another app. There's some sleep apps that are really good. It's about just getting all of your physiological symptoms to just reduce, just taking 10 minutes to yourself, just a time out. The curtain Kriya meditation is really very good because, Sata Nama and, going through that, it's quick and it really does have good results. So,
okay. Vanessa, you took that away too fast. Can you put that back on? The Zoe?
Yeah, if you go to chat, it's all there.
Okay.
So you need to and Lynn, I will send this all in an email to you.
Okay.
Marilyn.
Yes, it was very, very enlightening and very helpful, a lot of the things that you shared. And I was able to take some notes as you spoke. But when I was doing the meditation, I was unable to write any of the thoughts and what you shared as to the procedure. It was a beautiful process. And I just wondered if there's a way that we could get your not the exact all of the details, but just some outline as to what to think about when we do meditate, if we're a new meditator. And then the other question is, what is the training and what exactly are you teaching these students? Are you teaching them to meditate? Are you teaching teachers to learn to meditate? Or share with me, please.
That's great. What we're actually doing is we are having a session of between 45 minutes and an hour with the children one-on-one. We're allocated a child that we follow through for the school year. In that session, the first 2 or 3 minutes, they tell us about 3 positive things that have happened during the preceding week. And we explain to them that thinking of positive things will make them feel better when they're sad or mad. We then do academics with them, whatever they need, whatever the teacher advises us to do. She will give us some sheets and we'll do reading with them, we'll do spelling with them, we'll do math with them when we've genned up on the crazy ways that they do math these days. And then the last 5 to 7 minutes, we do mindfulness with them, which can be telling them a story or a YouTube video that they watch. And the kids are really responsive to this. They really like it. So, we would be very happy if you would express some interest. Go to the website, email me. And it's an hour a week, say, if you, at the moment, we're actually going to be, for the next school year, be looking for schools that are north. At the moment, we go to Nettlehurst School, which is by Wrigley Field, but we're going to be looking for other schools. There are so many children that are struggling, and even some who just have an issue with self-confidence. The tutoring, the one-on-one actually is making them blossom. One of my kids that I did last year, he would never speak up in class. And suddenly the teacher said, he would put up his hand and said, can I show the rest of the class how to do this? Because he had the confidence to do it. I think that all of our tutors would say that it's one of the best things they've ever done. They get so much out of it.
Thank you.
I also would love for you to comment on, we're not asking you to prescribe anything, but you know, what you think about the effects of medication, whether you be depressed or have anxiety.
I think that it has a place. I think the jury is still out as to how much is placebo and how much is not. I think that you need to see a good psychologist, a good psychiatrist. I think that magic mushrooms, psilocybin, has had spectacular results. And it is legal in Oregon now. And I think it will become legal. I think I forgot the name of the person from Harvard who in the 60s was experimenting with LSD and mushrooms, and it then got a very, very bad rap. And now Johns Hopkins has done huge research showing amazingly positive results. You know, a couple of sessions or one session has been giving people relief from depression for 6 months.
Wow.
Also replicated at King's College Hospital and the Maudsley Psychiatric Hospital and Imperial College London. All the test results are great. So, you know, I think that will be the future.
Evie.
Am I okay?
You're good. You're unmuted.
So I misunderstood. At first, I thought you were speaking from London, and that's why I was confused in terms of what you were looking for. And I had put in the chat to the wrong person initially about what we can do. And are there things that we can do remotely, or does everything have to be in person?
No, we've done a sort of a hybrid. It depends on the kid. I am in London right now, but I don't live there. I live in Glenview.
Oh, I see. When you mentioned Horse, my ears perked up because that's where I grew up, kind of a mile away.
Oh.
The other question that I have is it's about laughter. And to me, it's a double-edged sword because I've always been a laugher and love to laugh. But I also am a nervous person and I start to laugh when I start to talk. And that really is very anxiety producing for me as well as people around me, because finish your sentence, which is what I've always grown up with. So the laughter is, as much as I love it, it's a double-edged sword and it keeps me quiet sometimes. Can you comment how to address the laughter as a positive as opposed to anxiety producing?
I can. I think that we do laugh in anxious situations. I think that many situations when I've been around families who are bereaved, something will happen that triggers everybody to laugh hysterically. I think that you need to not be embarrassed about it. And I think you need to say, actually, it's a positive. And in the same way that we saw when the little girl was laughing and laughing, it made everybody smile. You're actually doing something good for all the people around you.
I mean, we all know the scenario of, unfortunately, somebody takes a trip on the stairs and you can't help but
right. Right. And I think you have, in that situation, you say, I am so sorry. This was just an automatic reaction. I am so sorry. I don't mean to be laughing at you.
Okay, thank you.
But laughter makes everybody feel better. It really does.
Marilyn.
Yes. What is the training program for your educators for this program? What kind of training do we get, and how long is the training, and where is the training? And am I understanding that this can be done on Zoom if we can't be present at on site?
Yes, it can be. As I say, we are at this moment, we are taking sort of names and interest to be starting in September. The training will depend on the individual teachers that one is working with. The teachers sometimes will give you a link to a reading program online if you're doing it virtually that you'll do. You'll have probably a 1-hour session on how to use the Zoom, how to use the technology, how to use the whiteboard.
And what about some of your training? Is any of your training passed on to some of these kids?
The mindfulness training, do you mean?
Yes.
Yes, and you will also get instructions. If you look at our website, you will see, if you go into the mindfulness for kids section, you will see there's a link to some Zoom videos that you can show, to some meditations and mindfulness that you can do yourself. It's not taxing, the training is there. We're available to answer questions, and we are going to develop the first couple of Zooms where we'll also be on the thing, so that if you get stuck with the technology at all, then we're there to help you out.
Yes, and I also liked some of the things that you said to ask yourself in certain situations. I think that's a nice crossover to teach children at a young age to be able to understand that they can actualize what their thoughts are into words, and then speak to their mind, and their mind will then speak to their body and their emotion. I think that's a great tool to transfer to these children. So I'm interested, if I can do it on Zoom, I'd be interested in your program.
That's brilliant. So please email me, sue@mctutors.org.
Lynn.
Hi, Sue. Do you ever do training for mindfulness training to large groups of adults?
In what context? Do you mean for a longer?
Highly stressed people who might need, in this day and age, we are all pretty stressed out for various reasons. I thought this presentation was terrific, and I wish more people from our congregation were exposed to it. How could we make that happen? Would you be able to do a larger group of people? Just with I think strategizing with these techniques. I would like to learn more techniques. And I know a lot of people will not go on these sites. They just won't. But if they heard you and did it with you, and I think that's what I did when I first was introduced to you, it carries over more effectively. But
I would be happy to. When I spoke to Vanessa in the first place, I said, I think it's good for me to come and do it in person. Well, thank goodness we didn't, because I'm in London right now.
Yes.
But there are many, many, many good websites and good apps that will speak to you through. 10% Happier is another one that do really, really good meditations, and you'll do them in your own time. I think often what happens at these things are the people who come are the people who are enlightened anyway, and the people who are the most stressed don't come. Just the way it goes.
Well, thank you so much for this program, and we'll spread the word. What might be helpful, Vanessa, is to maybe put on our website, or however you do it, some of these apps that people can consult.
Right. Right. That's hard for us to do, but I certainly can send out some emails, and I'm sending one to you. Excuse me, Lynn, with all the websites, and people, if you need more information, you can talk to me. Special thanks, Dr. Sue. I thought this morning was very relaxing. I certainly learned a lot. I'm going to try to concentrate on that breathing. I think we usually do it the opposite way. And you'll be hearing from us. So thank you, everyone. Next week we're in person. with Dr. Stephen Moffick and Rabbi Evan Moffick. So come on down. I think Lox and Bagels at 9:30. Sue, we're very sorry you missed our Lox and Bagels. Next time you can come for the Lox and Bagels. And if anybody needs anything, you know where to get a hold of me. Great seeing everyone. Bye-bye.
If anybody wants to email me about any questions from this, then please feel free. Sue at mctutors.org.
Perfect. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.